So UFC 324, I believe, gave us everything that we wanted and more. Okay, we saw performances. And when I say performances, with all respects, because the fighters that go into the octagon, especially for the ones that we saw at UFC 324, performed at their highest level. These guys were like artists, and I didn't expect anything less. They came in, they put on such a spectacular event. Performances for all those who are watching, not only in the arena but around the world, and I was thoroughly impressed. I mean, every time you see fighters like Sean O'Malley, Song Yadong, for instance, every time either of these fighters fight, they put on a show, they entertain, they bring it their all, and there's like no quit in either of these guys. And that was probably one of the fights of the night. But Sean O'Malley calling out Old Ghost, Song Yadong, these guys came out and entertained. They did. Then you had Derrick Lewis. Oh boy. I'll talk about Derrick Lewis, but he was accused of quitting. And then what's another storyline here that we can get to? Paddy the Baddie, Paddy Pimblett, taking on Justin Gaethje. Some people feel that Justin Gaethje put Paddy in his place and humbled him with an amazing victory. I mean, honestly, it was not one-sided. It could have gone either way for either fighter. One wrong slip up, one wrong move, that could have been the end. But these guys came out, and when you talk about heart and you talk about heart power, I'm not talking about your MMA or fighting IQ. I'm not talking about all the months and years that go into perfecting your craft, your skills, the different arts of martial arts. I'm talking about guys who just don't quit. They continue to fight on regardless of how much pain they're in, regardless of the circumstances surrounding them, regardless of where they're even at from a points perspective in a fight. That was the main event. Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje did not disappoint. They entertained the masses around the world, and now people are asking for encore because they want more. And now, guys, now we got to talk about what's going to happen. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the fight itself, right? And, this was... It was an amazing card, guys. There was so much going on. Honestly, there was so much going on yesterday. I mean, you had UFC 324. You had boxing as well too. You had Raymond Muratalla. That's another conversation. That's another video. But there was a lot going on, and it was really exciting. I was thoroughly impressed with the UFC card, and Dana White and his team delivered, like they continuously deliver each and every single time. There was also a video circulating online about UFC referee Mark Smith, who was carried back to the locker arena, guys. And Dana White was asked about it because there was a lot of people talking about something doesn't look right with Mark Smith, and people were actually very concerned about his health, about perhaps maybe he suffered from some kind of health scare, health risk during the fight. And so Dana White kind of alluded to the fact that he revealed that the referee had actually suffered a brutal injury during the fight, and apparently Mark Smith blew his ACL during the fight, guys. And I mean, this is scary stuff, right? Because I mean, I don't think Dana White, I personally have never seen that before. And, I think Bruce Buffer, from what Dana White was talking about, is the only one that actually blew his ACL, apparently. I don't know. But I mean, or he's seen somebody, blew their ACL during a fight. And I can't recall when this exactly happened. This happened obviously during one of the prelim fights, but But yeah, it's really really scary stuff. I think it was the fight between Gaethje and Pulev. But yeah, I hope for a speedy recovery for Mark Smith, and you never like to see those kind of things happen. It did, unfortunately. But that's a fighting game. That's a fighting business, and especially when it comes to live TV or live events, things are going to happen, unfortunately. But we hope for a speedy recovery for Mark Smith. That said, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. And guys, seriously, the UFC 324 had many layers. The whole fight weekend itself had many layers, and it was super exciting. I'll start with some of the highlighted fights that I wanted to talk about. I won't get into the whole card, but Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong, that call out. I mean, I'll talk about that. This fight was so impressive on so many different levels. As I alluded to before, anytime you get the opportunity to see either Sean O'Malley or even Song Yadong fight, they perform at their highest level capable. These aren't the kind of guys who'll quit on you. They want to put on a show. They want to do all that they can, the best that they can. They lay everything that they have on the line every single night that they come out and they're supposed to fight. That's why I'm really impressed with both of these guys. Sean O'Malley handled his business, and he handled his business in such grand fashion. And we'll talk about that first, because I mean, there was 3 rounds. There was a lot of back and forth, but guys, that you have to watch this fight. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, I want you to watch it from the beginning to end. The way these guys fought with such heart and such dedication to their craft, it was like, this was pure MMA at its best. All right. And then you had Suga comes out there, guys. And you never know, like, sometimes there's you'll find inconsistencies in some of the fighters every now and then, but with Suga, he's pretty consistent every single time he fights. And he busted Song Yadong open. He left him super bloody. It came from a knee right to his face. And to watch that over and over again, especially in slow motion, that's tough. But Suga did what he had to do. I mean, he took it right out of his playbook. He stuffed takedowns. He stayed composed. And all the judges scored it 29-28. O'Malley, UFC 324 at the T-Mobile Arena. They were all on their feet, guys. This was probably one of the most exciting fights of the night. All right. And then in the post-fight interview, and before I get into that, Sean Yadong, what an unbelievable performer. This guy, he came out like, he's such a great fighter, guys. It's always a treat to watch him fight. And then I want to get right to the juicy part. The post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. And so Joe Rogan hands, Suga the mic, and so Sean immediately, what does he do? He calls out for Petr Yan. He calls out for Petr Yan. And if you guys remember, Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili just recently fought, and Petr Yan got the best of that. Now remember, Sean already beat Petr Yan 4 years ago in probably one of the most controversial bantamweight bouts, decisions ever, guys. And so people are still debating. People are still commenting about that, talking about that. People are calling it robbery. People are saying all kinds of things when it comes to that. Maybe I'll get into it in another video. But yeah, guys, that call out, it just wasn't random. Sean, according to Sean, he feels like he has some unfinished business and he wants to clear up. He wants to be able to take care of that as soon as he can. And that's probably one of the things on his bucket list. And so, hey, you know what? What an amazing call out. I think that would be a great fight. I think that makes it really easy for Dana White and his team. They just got to find a way to slot these two guys in. And then you have Merab, right? Merab was present. He was there. He was watching UFC 324. And, what is Merab thinking about all this? Because here you got Sean coming off such a beautiful win over Song Yadong. in a post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, he's calling out Petr Yan. But technically, Merab Dvalishvili, he's the one who should be getting an immediate rematch after his unbelievable, historic 135-pound title run. I mean, why not? It should be Merab, right? I want to see Merab and Petr Yan definitely run it back. I mean, even though Petr Yan did outpoint Merab in the last fight at No Mercy, but a lot of people are calling it a shocking upset. I personally had that wrong. I called that wrong. I honestly felt that Merab Dvalishvili was going to get the win over Petr Yan. I wouldn't have foreseen Petr Yan winning, especially in that way. And look, we're talking about these two guys who should be running it back in a rematch. Sean's actually calling out one of those guys. And then what about Umar Nurmagomedov? Right? I mean, he just beat Davison Figueiredo on the first UFC Paramount card. And a lot of people, I think, are underestimating Omar's capabilities and skill sets, right? Davison, guys, he's a veteran. He knows a thing or two about his craft. And he's one of those guys. He's just really very hard to contend with. He's got he's got that experience factor, guys. Davison has been around, and he's an unbelievably talented fighter. But Umar Nurmagomedov, he really planted his flag, guys, and he's basically telling the whole world, don't forget me. I'm here, and I'm here to stay. And he came off such a beautiful win against Davison. So I mean, when you throw all of that into mix, guys, yeah, it does kind of make things a little bit difficult. I mean, on one hand, you have Dana White is probably thinking, yeah, rematch between Merab and Yan totally makes sense. But then now you got Suga, who's calling out Petr Yan, and then so I don't know. And then you got Umar in the mix, and there's a lot of other very, very talented fighters, guys, who could easily be given the nod, to step up. But I mean, we're starting to get into very, very dangerous territory, because if Merab gets skipped again, potentially, it's going to start to result in some very, very nasty bad blood. Because look, Yan versus Mali, that sells. That definitely sells. You got bad blood. You got a lot of narratives. You've got two guys who are not going to sugarcoat their hatred for one another, or I wouldn't even call it hatred, but both of these guys know they have some unfinished business between each other, and they've got some history, and they need it cleared up, and they want to do it fast. But then you also have Merab in the wings, who's waiting for an opportunity, right? So what you could see potentially is O'Malley technically beating Yan again, and maybe clean, right? This way it eliminates any kind of potential ambiguity, anything that was kind of spilling over from the last fight, right? Hence all the comments and debates and things that are going on right now, because a lot of people feel that O'Malley did win via controversial manner. But this time, if O'Malley takes on Yan and beats him clean, it ends all of that. It puts an end to that. It'll silence the critics forever. There'll be no more ambiguity, no more discussions or debates, what if scenarios. That's it. It's done. But if he actually loses that, the question will come down to the whole Suga era. Is that done as well too? If O'Malley comes into that fight, puts everything on the line like he normally does, and loses against Petr Yan, he's pretty much going to walk out of the octagon with his legacy attached to him, and it's done. I think that whole era is done. I don't know if O'Malley could potentially come back as a co-main event, but it'll be a long time before we ever see him in a main event. And who knows? I mean, after that, the stakes of O'Malley will drop suddenly, and then there's all these other up-and-coming fighters who are going to want to take that spotlight away from him. So yeah, it does kind of get a little bit messy. It gets interesting as well too. But anyways, that's the UFC, guys, and that's combat sports, and that's why I love it so much. So I can't wait to hear and see what kind of goes on with that. And then another fight I wanted to talk about was Derrick Lewis. So he took on Waldo Cortes-Acosta. And This is really, really bizarre, guys. It was really interesting. So this is the strange thing, right? So Derek, okay, like I mean, this whole fight had this like aura about it. Like this is the fight that you guys want to see. I mean, these guys are big boys, and like during, if you guys watch the pressers leading into the fight, the whole weigh-ins and everything, you had Dana White. He had to jump in. He had to prevent these guys. He had to push, make sure that these guys weren't too close within vicinity, because he had to break them up, guys. Because these guys are about to like throw down the fists right then and there at the weigh-ins. But guys, when these guys came into the octagon, and once the fight started, it was a completely different story. Completely different story. Like Derrick Lewis looked like he was 100 years old. Okay? Look, the guy, I'm not trying to make fun of him, all right? He's almost 41 years old, So obviously he's going to, he's not going to be able to perform at the same level that he was able to do like 20, 25 years ago. That's just the way it is. I'm an older guy. Like when I go up and down the stairs, I feel it in my knees, man. I do. You don't have that same kind of bounce, that same kind of, skip to your step, if they want to call it, if you want to call it that. Fighters usually, especially as they start to climb up in age, they become a little bit, slightly slower, a little less explosive. And I mean, we're just humans, guys. We're not machines where you could just replace the spark plugs, put in some new ones, and get the pistons all firing like they once were, like 20, 25 years ago. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. But anyhow, Derrick Lewis looked like he was out of place. Okay, plain and simple, guys. I mean, he went down like what's really confusing to me, guys. It looked like Waldo threw a jab, right? He throws a jab and then he goes down. Like there was no like follow up shot. There was no overright, hand coming in from anywhere to seal the deal with the knockout. No bomb shot. No, there was no follow up. Nothing. It just looked like a simple jab, and then Derrick Lewis goes down. Like WTF? Like what the Like what happened? What happened? And then all of a sudden, you guys can hear it. If you're listening, you could hear the fans screaming out, "He quit! He quit! He quit!" Like, guys, social media has, it's off the rails. All right. There's just so much stuff going on about this fight. I mean, there's so much. That's the thing with these fight cards. There's so much drama. I was actually, while I was watching up until even the main event, I'm still thinking about the Derrick Lewis Waldo Acosta fight. I'm like, what the happened here, guys? Like, seriously, what was that? I'm going to have to do a backstory on this one. Anyways, it was a reality check, guys. Bottom line, honestly, it was devastating. Like, what was it? I mean, shocking. Just shocking. So my question is, how bad was that jab? Was that jab actually, it was a jab. It was a jab, guys. Straight up, it was a jab. But how much power was behind that jab to the point where he knocked out Derrick Lewis, potentially? I mean, that must have been a devastating jab, guys. I mean, was Acosta seriously just the more skillful fighter in the octagon at that moment? He was more faster, sharper, I guess, all night. Weird, guys. But Acosta, like, he literally, as soon as Derrick Lewis hit the ground, he jumped on him with like the ground and pound, like, and he ended up forcing a stoppage. Referee jumped in there, and look, that's Acosta's biggest win of his career. So kudos to him, guys. Congratulations to him. I'm still a little perplexed as to exactly the chain of events and what happened. I might actually have to go back and see if I missed something. But as I recall it, guys, it looked like it was just a jab that took out Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis, I don't know if there was something wrong with his training camp, his conditioning, but something happened, and sometimes these fights don't look, or sometimes these punches don't look as hard as they are because we're watching it from a television set, or how many, I don't know, thousands, some teens of thousands of miles away. But something happened. He must have felt it. He must have got hit. I don't know. Something happened, and he went down, and he went down like a ton of bricks. And then the whole ground and pound guys, and then fight was stopped. But yeah, congratulations to Mr. Acosta. But very, very interesting. I don't like calling fighters quitters, because the last thing you want to do is call a fighter a quitter. I will call Adam 22 a quitter. That was a complete joke. That whole fight with Brand Risk, and the fight against him and Jason Love with his wife Lena the Plug in there. I did a video on this just the other day, guys. Watch it. That Adam was a quitter. I mean, 3 years in the making, guys, and then claiming that he only had 2 weeks to train for this fight. I mean, like, seriously, you couldn't even throw one punch, dude. Yeah, that guy was a quitter. But anyways, when you compare Derrick Lewis, there's no comparison. Derrick Lewis is a fighter. He's a skilled fighter. He's not a quitter. But something happened, and we have to figure out what that happened. But from optics sell, okay? From an optics perspective, that shit didn't look good at all. All right? It doesn't. Especially to the UFC, and especially to the fans. And look, people aren't, there's a lot of people who are ready to just rip right through you on social media. They don't care who you are. They don't care if you are the second coming of whatever. If they get the opportunity to tear you down, they'll tear you down. And social media is just ripping on Derrick Lewis right now. And whether you like it or not, I mean, optics matter, guys. And from what I was able to see, it looked like he quit. He got hit with the jab, unless that jab was like a superhero jab or something like that. And, Acosta's got the strength of like Superman, then that's a different story. But then, then you got Acosta. He's calling out Curtis Blades now afterwards. And yeah, that's actually very, very smart of him. That's kind of like, that'll be like the real test for him to see if he's actually got that legit power and how capable he is of taking on a guy like Curtis Blades. So that also makes it very, very easy for Dana White and the UFC to be able to put that fight together, because that's something that I would want to see, and that's something that I think the fans would want to see as well too. So a lot of people are talking about Dana White and his new bonus system. I think it's super genius. Dana White, quietly behind the scenes, if you guys didn't know this, he totally changed the rules of the game, guys. Now the fight night is not $50,000 a night; it's $100,000 to get fight of the night. And then he also has a performance of the night, which is $100,000. And then he's also giving away $25,000 for anyone. It's kind of like a bonus payday for any stoppage. All right. So that also includes controversial like finishes, like, for instance, the fight that we just talked about with Derrick Lewis taking on Acosta. That actually counts, guys, and that'll pay out. It absolutely does. Now, fighters are actually incentivized to be able to finish, especially in the prelims, right? So that overall, this is great for fighters. They're going to get more money, and it's great for the fans, because you're going to see more entertaining fights, more entertaining finishes, and you're going to see fighters who are going to come out and really give it their all. So overall, I think that's a very, very smart move by Dana White, and great for the UFC product. Those are the kind of things that we want to see, and that was fantastic. So kudos to Dana White. I think he should get a performance of the night bonus just for implementing that. And then, guys, I want to talk about the main event. I want to talk about Paddy the Baddy. I want to talk about his fight with Justin Gaethje. Guys, like, look, the main event. Wow. This was a fight, guys. I actually had Paddy winning this fight. I wasn't 100% certain he was going to knock out Gaethje. I thought maybe it would end probably by unanimous decision, something along those lines. But I knew it was going to be a close fight. I didn't see this coming at all. I still had Paddy winning this fight, even after the third round. But anyways, I mean, they called Justin Gaethje the highlight, and he definitely had a lot of highlights in that. That's for sure. He scored multiple knockdowns. That guys like, on his route to winning via unanimous decision. I think it was 48-47, 49-46, and 49-46 on the scorecards by the cage side judges. And what a win! What a win! Justin Gaethje becomes the first UFC fighter in history to become a two-time interim champion in the premier promotion, guys. And look, he pretty much earned himself an opportunity, a shot at Ilia Toporia's undisputed title. And so, I mean, he's feeling pretty good right now because, I mean, he's getting up there in age as well. I think he's 37, maybe turning 38 soon. And so this obviously means a lot for him. A lot of people were thinking that this was going to be his last fight. And a lot of people had including myself, had Paddy the Baddy winning this fight. And basically, seeing off Justin Gaethje, as he walks away off into the sunset. But no, the role was reversed. Justin Gaethje decided that it's not his time, and he still got maybe a couple more fights, maybe a few more fights in him, and he did it in spectacular fashion to the point where it was not ambiguous at all. I think everyone who watched this fight agrees that he definitely belongs in the UFC. All right. And so, in the beginning, you saw Paddy come out. He had that whole UK Liverpool vibe. You got all the blonde wigs kind of, in the stands, and he's coming out there. He's just dancing and he's doing his thing and he's just having a good time. And he's just, pumping it up, like almost like he's got a DJ right next to him in the middle of the octagon. And he was just having a ball of a time. And yeah, like this was Paddy's opportunity to getting a shot at the interim gold, and obviously he wanted to go en route to take on Ilia Topuria. He didn't. Obviously, he wanted that spot really, really bad, and but across from him, he took on an aging fighter, but a very, very skilled fighter, right? Just because people are getting up there in age, guys, don't count them out, okay? I say this so many times before. Look at Alex Pereira. Look at Terrence Crawford. A lot of these oldie guys that are coming out, I mean, they're doing pretty well. And guys, look, Paddy's getting up there too. He's not 27 or 28. The guy's 31 years old. He's still in the prime of his life. And he's right now, like, he hasn't even really truly been tested. So watch out, because this young lad from the UK, from Liverpool, is definitely going to be on top of the world here very, very soon. He's going to go back. He's going to re-strategize. It is what it is. But during this fight, Gaethje pretty much had to remind everybody who he is. And with his nickname being the highlight, there's obviously a reason for that. There were moments, very, very early, with knees and pressure, from Paddy. He was landing some really slick, clean shots. He was kind of trying to time it out, very, very carefully as well too. But Gaethje he had an answer each and every single time. There were quite a few times where Gaethje missed. He was just kind of throwing wildly, like there was moments where there were like these little tiny skirmishes, like a little exchanges between the two fighters, very close to the center of the octagon. And you could just see he was just kind of throwing wildly there, but then he just kind of regrouped, re-strategized, and he immediately corrected his mistakes, right? And then Gaethje dropped him hard, guys, and then leg kicks, right hands, guys. Like when I think about the pace and the flow of the fight, I was super, super impressed. Gaethje was there to match up with the stamina levels of Paddy each and every single time. It didn't look like he really missed a beat, aside from the few mistakes that you could see in Gaethje's swinging and his striking, and you could tell as it got into the latter rounds, Gaethje was less inclined to wanting to take Paddy to the mat, because it is harder to to score a takedown and to hold somebody in a takedown and you know in a submission move. It's harder. And as the fight goes on into the latter rounds, your lactic acid starts to build up in your limbs, and you know you get tired, and then it's tough. So he was really, you know, Gaethje was really hoping to capitalize on his striking, and that he did. And you know what? Like, it went the distance, guys. 5 rounds. He won by unanimous decision, and there was no ambiguity as the referee was calling out the judges' scores. You even saw Paddy just quickly break away, and he starts clapping, and he knew he lost that fight, and he was in good spirits. He was a great sportsman. He took the loss, and he's gonna go back, and he's gonna try to re-strategize and fine tune a few things so that he'll be ready for his next fight, right? And so, like, the other thing that a lot of people are not talking about is, and I talk about in my videos about the dangers of cutting and increasing weight just to make weight for a fight, and how much stress, how much burden that adds to your body, the training regimens, the conditioning, and everything that you need to do just so that you can perform. It's hard, guys. It's hard. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because a lot of people don't know this, but Paddy had to cut 13 pounds in 16 hours, guys, in less than a day, just to make the lowest weight that he's ever been in, like, literally almost a decade. All right? Just so he could fight for this title fight. Just think about that for a second, guys. How hard is it for you to try to drop 1 pound, okay, in a day? This guy dropped 13 pounds in 16 hours. I should do a video on the tactics that people do just to be able to cut and increase weight, guys. It's absolutely scary stuff, especially when you're cutting weight. You know how detrimental that could be to your body, how much energy it sucks out of you. Like, that could honestly have played a huge factor. Especially, I mean, I didn't see Paddy losing any. Like, his timing looked really good. You know, he looked fresh. He looked like he had a lot of energy. But the reality is, it might have played a big factor in him potentially losing this fight. Cutting that much weight in such little time, it's never a good thing. Now, the other thing to consider when it comes to these two guys fighting is just remember who you have sitting there in the audience. You had Arman Tsarukyan. Man, this guy, there's a lot of controversy surrounding him because a lot of people feel that he was snubbed. Right? I mean, Arman just came off such a beautiful win over Dan Hooker and UFC in Qatar, and he honestly thought he was going to get the nod to take on either one of these guys and eventually go on to take on Ilia Topuria. So he didn't, and a lot of people felt that he got snubbed, and in fact, Dana White decided to go with Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. Now, he's waiting on the wings. So he wants to know who he's going to fight because he also wants a crack at Ilia's title. All right. And he has been beefing with Paddy Pimblett for a while now on social media. And so naturally, this guy was quick to rub salt in the wounds following Paddy's first loss. I mean, this guy was undefeated, okay, coming into this fight. And Arman was saying this clown couldn't even beat Gaethje on antibiotics, and he was writing this on social media. So when we're talking about antibiotics, I'll get into that. But he also added that what happens, this is what happens when you're gifted opportunities and then you're pushed up the rankings artificially. And he felt that Paddy was gifted this opportunity. He did kind of jump the queue when it came to the rankings, and he got this opportunity. According to Tsarukyan, this was an undeserved title shot, and he went on to congratulate Justin Gaethje. He's saying that Gaethje showed real heart, unlike others, and he stepped up, you know, and he'll step up to hopefully take on the fight with him one day. But I mean, Yeah, he did take a lot of shots at Paddy Pimblett, and he was talking about this whole antibiotics thing because apparently Justin Gaethje was on antibiotics because of a staph infection that he had, and so he was trying to poke fun at the fact that Gaethje was somewhat ill, sick, and he still ended up beating Paddy Pimblett, and saying that Paddy couldn't even beat Justin Gaethje while he was on medication. But I don't know, it's kind of funny thing to say. But anyhow, yeah, but he was calling Paddy trash, and he's saying that he's not a top fighter. He's not like me. And, Gaethje, on the other hand, he wouldn't do that. And, Arman was talking about Paddy saying that, he would choke him out in the second round because he has no chin and his cardio looked really, really terrible. And if he felt that Paddy's cardio was a little bit off, it's probably because of him cutting so much weight in such little time. But I mean, Paddy got knocked out 15 or 20 times, according to Arman Tsarukyan. And he was saying that Justin didn't want to just finish him, but he could have like 10 times. I don't know. But I mean, obviously he's quite upset that he didn't get the nod up and didn't get the opportunity to fight in this fight. Either way, I think Paddy is still probably one of the biggest things in the UFC. And I also love Arman Tsarukyan, man. This guy's got so much heart power, so much heart energy. He is such a skillful, tactful fighter. Very, very dangerous. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see kind of what happens, right? So anyways, you could call it experience took on momentum in one. I'm talking about Gaethje beating Paddy Pimblett. But like I said, Paddy's still a star. And I think he's 100% still ready to take on anybody. He had an off night, but I think he's definitely has the skills to be able to be a champ. And I think he will be a champ one day. So, guys, there you have it. Those are my, again, I didn't want to go through the whole card, but I just wanted to talk about some of the fights that just kind of stuck out for me. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. Please smash a like and subscribe, hit the bell notification so you never miss a beat. And I look forward to seeing you guys on my next video.